Over the last few episodes, we have built tons of awesome features to bring this game to life. Well, a huge portion of development we have completely overlooked is one of the most important aspects of an action RPG, the enemies. In this episode, I will be breaking down the 2 crucial days I spent building out the enemy cults in this dream world of our untitled roguelike auto-scroller deck builder game. Also, we definitely are going to need a title soon, so please leave in the comments section below some title ideas for this game. To begin day 1, I wanted to create some kind of thematic for my enemies to play into, while still trying to keep things light with the art style and cartoony characters. I ended up deciding on cults that are devoted to gods of different ideals and rituals. Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy for a cutesy fun little card game, but guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. In order to create actual themes for my enemies, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Yeah, look at the environment, literally. So first was concepting areas that could inhabit different types of creatures for my cults to form in. We have the starting area of your journey, also known as Puff Dream Village, because I think the clouds look pretty puffy and this whole place kind of looks like a dream. So yeah, Puff Dream Village. It's pretty organic. Very much happy with this one and have already turned this into an actual zone in game, but what about some new themes you will travel through on your adventure? So introducing the Volcanic Caverns. This is my take on a more classic fire dungeon area with a focus on trying to pull the level's design in and making this whole place feel enclosed and suffocating. So there is a huge focus on having a ton of enemies on screen, with the area feeling more closed off and overpopulated for my claustrophobic players. This wouldn't be a cool game without a nuclear level, so introducing the Acidic Wasteland. I want to create a bunch of cool effects with the air and ground layers to create a more threatening atmosphere, as I want this area to actually directly relate with Puff Dream as kind of like an undercity of the main village. This will show a darker side to the commonly known happy-go-lucky version of Puff Dream. Super excited to work on these, but with those being my 3 areas I'll be focusing on for theming, I started production on creating my game's enemies and cults. While we won't be looking at the final first draft of the enemies just yet, I want to go over the cult themes I'll be using for these areas. Puff Dream will have a more innocent clan, being a cult devoted to mischief and pointy things. This is to keep things light and fun for the first introductory area, not having the game take itself too seriously, while still planting the idea that these creatures are violent. The Volcanic Caverns will be accompanied by the cult devoted to violence and pretty much anything hot. And last but not least, we have the cult devoted to mutation and disease in the Acidic Wasteland. I think these themes work really well with the areas and give a fine balance between the game trying to have cool ideas without taking itself too seriously to keep things on the lighter, fun side. This game isn't going to have a ton of deep, rich story, so keeping things pretty surface level is exactly what I want to do for this kind of experience. I think games that try to take themselves overly serious, even when it really doesn't hand well with the gameplay aspects, ends up kind of just hindering the experience and making it feel unrelatable. Anyway, before we design some awesome enemies, I want to let you guys know that I actually recently co-published my first book. It's a book about my last game, Monster Tribe, which is pretty awesome. But you know what I love more than this cool book? Amazon. Why? Well, they let us publish the super cool art book. And they also created Amazon GameLift, which has saved game devs from networking headaches across the globe, and has also sponsored today's video. GameLift is an extension to Amazon Web Services specifically built for game developers, which allows you to create, scale, and manage online multiplayer servers for your video games. If you're new to these kinds of cloud hosting services, don't worry, they offer tons of documentation and training courses for you to get as much information as needed. If you already know what you're doing on the networking side of things, they make it extremely easy to get started with your game. My favorite feature I want to mention is the Amazon GameLift Flex Match extension. This makes it really easy to not only create basic or advanced matchmaking systems, but also this can fix latency issues by matching players with similar geographic locations, and even lets you match up to 200 players in one game. I've recently been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight with my girlfriend, and well, guess who uses the services of GameLift to support crossplay? Yep, Dead by Daylight. Think of the possibilities for, let's say, creating a ranking system in a battle royale like Fortnite meets indie developers. But best of all, they make sure your servers are highly functioning and easy to adjust as you create your game. So if you're making an online game or thinking about it in the near future, GameLift is a must-try for game developers. Whether you're an advanced game developer or a beginner, they have you covered. So make sure to click the link in my description to try out Amazon GameLift for free today. Anyway, thank you so much to Amazon GameLift for sponsoring this video. But now, on to day 2. Adding the first enemy cult into my roguelike game. Well, the cult I decided to start off with was none other than the first cult you will face in the game's story, the Clan of Misfits from Puff Dream Village. When I was trying to create a style and theme for this area's enemies, I decided to go with spiked, edgy looking creatures that, while aiming to not look super threatening, they still needed some kind of punk attitude and demeanor. The first enemy is the most classic of enemies. This right here is the runner enemy that will run at the player and attack them at a decently close range. They're not particularly great at offense or defense, but act as a hybrid class for the other enemies in the group. The second enemy I made was the blocker enemy. With the slow movement and attack speed, extremely close range, and very low damage, this class of enemy will primarily be there to aid the front line and act as a damage sponge to soak up hits and avoid the back line from being disturbed. The third and final class of enemy is none other than the caster enemy, where they have a high focus on staying protected with their extremely fragile health and defensive stats, and attack from a far range to stay safe. I think all three classes of enemies work really well together, as well as the designs complementing the same aesthetic to make this mischievous cult a fun, colorful, yet daunting cast of characters. Thank you so much for watching, but in today's comment section, what enemy types or thematics would you like to see in this game's areas? Let me know your thoughts, and of course, the best answers might just get featured in a future episode and built out into the finished result of my game. I hope to see you all next Friday for the 4th episode in our series, where I make a huge announcement you are all definitely going to very much be excited about.